Dharma, Jumden, diligence, Mañjugosha, Zobe, Sanje, Ribada, Shazundem, Devaresha, Jiten, Majiwan, Homage, Lana, Meva, Lana, Mena, Yetem, Sanje, Jumden, Bejawa, Shaja, Mana, Sate, Chuda, Yazu, Wandema, Jumden, diligence, Rajuma, Yanda, Zobe, Sanje, Ribada, Shazundem, Devaresha, Jiten, Majiwan, Homage, Lana Meva, Lana, Mena, Yetem, Sanje, Jumden, Benjawa Shajan, the Bala Satan, or children, Jazuja. The Mahajam then the Shin, one Rajama, Yanda, one of the Rivada Shazon, the Man, the Varesha, one Jidenjam. Given the Vakaloja, Lana Meva, Lana Melan Jetam. Sanjam then the Benjawa Shajan, the Bala Satan, or children, Jazuja. Consecania, Zova, Jadamasea, Sergeant, the Noble. One in Jiden, the No Georgia, there's a Kavajum. Namda Gunga Jodu, so Sama Yisha, Say, Tavan Jiden, some Lame, Gombo Junior, Change on them, Chimenda, Vesha, Sendo, the regional Seva Zuma, Jenya, Change, Gombo to Jay, Martin, Jay, Better Mob, Solomon, the Jenjala Charles and Lotam, the Church of giving it. Chitted and no Chogi was Junior, John Charles and Ocean. Lavatala, Rabdane, Shingaton, Gedema, the Wajia Mejajan gave up his own so much, and gets in the Tina Sanje Dema, Yakamara, Yamasa, Melon Loda Jetta, when the Jason of the Data, Sonam de Jezema, Yakomaton, the Ginger. Gadanana Shiva Love, Siva Son, and one
to the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond. The full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. When supreme among humans you are born on this earth, you paced our 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With the pure body's form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, we know the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are none, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, teacher having all understanding, the field of negative qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one good thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy period qualified in the realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intended virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. star, mirage, or flammable lamp, an illusion of drop or tear or bubble, a dream or flash of lightning or cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings obtain rank of seeing,
subdued
full of force, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
So last Saturday, we talked about the 6 things to remember: Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the boundiness and moral ethic, and God to recall. So having faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, and practice with generosity, and the discipline, and the, invoking the deities, 6 things to remember. And then talked about the lay vows, the 8 branches of the lay vow. So it's a 1-day lay vows. And then we talk about the patience. The patience began with peace, and positive, and patience. Patience comes from the positive thinking, positive attitude, and positive comes from the peace. So the peace is very important. And then cherishing, kind of, cherish your own mind like treasure, children, your own children. And what's that? So which means treasures means because your mind or the consciousness, the mental consciousness, is the source of enlightenment, liberations. So therefore, you should cherish the mind. You should not be, contaminate the mind, and also you should not blame the mind. And mind should be treated like a treasure. And the second, mind should be treated like your own children. You should not be forcing the mind to believe in something, to do something, And you have to convince the mind. By convincing the mind, and then mind can lead you to enlightenment or the liberations. So then, one of the important thing is, stanza number 17 is, understand your thought to be like figures drawn on the water, sandy soil, curved stones. So any imprints, any habit in the minds, if the bad things has done, you should easily forget that. Don't keep in mind, or don't keep in mind means don't think again and again, right? Just forget it, like figure drawn on the water or the sandy soil. And then if something you have done good or you gain knowledge, and they curve like stones, curve in the stone. So it should be like not to forget. You have to think again and again, contemplate, and analyze. So yeah, that's the main thing. And then now, stanzas number 29. Stanzas number 29. You who know the world, take gain and loss, or bliss or pain, or kind words or the abuse, or praise or blame. These 8 mundane concerns make them, make them same. Make them same. Like almost like you should overpower on them. Then don't disturb your mind. Now this is also one of the tools that to keep the mind in peace. So, and what are the disturbance here is the 8 mundane concerns, the obsession of gaining any substantial is one of the conditions that disturb the mind, and obsessions fearing the loss, kind of losing any possessions or the possessions, fearing the losing the obsession of possession, yeah. obsession of losing the possessions, obsession fearing losing the possessions, and the bliss and pain means obsession to happiness, obsession to fearing, pain or discomfort, an obsession to the kind words, the obsession fearing, the bad words, hardship words, abuse words, an obsession to praise, obsession to fearing blame or criticism. So these 8 mundane concerns, because of the obsessions that can easily disturb the mind. Yeah, I think this should be keep in mind. It's very important. You who know the world take gain and loss. Obsessions taking gain, obsessions fearing the loss of something, right? Some possessions. Obsessions of happy. I want to be happy, which means you have fear. You are fearing, something discomfort may come, something, bad conditions may come, bad time may come. An obsession to the kind words, an obsessions fearing the abuse words, obsession the praise, obsessions fearing blame. So 8 mundane concerns. So I think here in the English translation, make them same. Make them same means you have to obsess equally. And in Tibetan it says, Dagi yiyu members. Dagi yiyu member, gonyum zes. This is not your, subject to think again and again. So you should be overpower or overcome those obsessions.
Why it says on the front, it says, you who know the world.
So this is referring to the Buddha, Buddha, Jigten Khenpas, one who you who know the world, Jigten Khenpa means, in the present of the Buddha Shakyamuni is, what's that? Jigten Khenpa, given to us, conducts, what's that? I need the praises to the Buddha Shakyamuni. Yeah, that's important questions. Knower of the world, Sugata, the knower of the world, supreme guide to the tent, knower of the world. So sometimes we say Buddha is knower of the world, because if he do not know the world, or in the mundane or in the suffering, and he cannot guide sentient beings to the liberations. He is the knower of the world. He knows how and in what condition the sentient being cycling in samsara, and what condition sentient beings get angry, jealous, arrogance, how sentient beings can delude their mind. So he is the knower of the world. So you who know the world. So
Buddha that makes these 8 mundane things to be equal.
Equal means he has overcome those, 8 mundane concerns. Buddha has overcome or overpowered on them, So I think, yeah, so it's for sure the Buddha has overcome, but for us, we should be reduced or kind of apply the remedy, or we should not be obsession to the gaining substance. We should not be, obsessive about, what if I lose this thing? And keep thinking, obsession is keep thinking. So your mind is single-pointedly, worrying or fearing that this may lose someday. So, and the mind that keep thinking about, always thinking about what makes me happy, and mind's always fearing that this can make me not happy. This can make me, discomfort. So, and the mind keep thinking about, I want to hear the good news. I do not want to hear any bad news. So keep thinking about it. And mind that's always goes after seeking for some praise, expecting some praise. And mind always fearing that if someone may criticize you or blame you, and keep thinking about that is, immediately cause to destroy your peace in mind. And this also not only destroy the peace, it's also destroy your knowledge, your good qualities. So this is the 8 mundane concerns. They're called 8 mundane concerns. So gain, loss, happy, discomfort, kind word, abuse word, and praise and blame. And the obsession to those 8 mundane concerns that disturb your mind. So then says, by having disturbed your mind, and what you do, with disturbing mind, you do bad things. You say bad things. You think negatively. So then it says, perform no evil, even for the sake of brahmins, bhikshus, gods, so honored guest, a father and mother, a queen, or for your coat, the ripened fruit in hell for you alone. You should not be engaging in the negative actions or unwholesome deeds, even for the sake of gurus, or practitioners, respectables, or the monks, or the organizations, monasteries, or the guests, and even for father and mothers, or if you are a king, not even for the queen or your ministers, because the result, the negative consequences, you will experience alone. I think this kind of pretty much fit, and even like ordinary people thinking. We always says, when if I do that, what I can gain, what is the benefit for me, what is my loss. So we always, based on these two, we try to, do things, say things. If there is benefit, I will do it. If there is, loss, I would not do it. So now it says, if there is the loss, even for, Buddha Shakyamunis, even for the, bhikshus, the father and mother, you should not be committing any unwholesome deeds. So then that reminds me, the captain of the boats, one of the Bodhisattvas and the Bodhisattvas, he killed the Minatung. Yeah, there's one guy who planned to kill 500 people. So if now this is the exceptions. So generally, you should not be committing any negative action. You should not be engaging in any negative actions, even for the fathers, mothers, friends, the guests. Exception is if your mind is totally under the compassions, under the power of the compassions. Anything that you think or say is underpinned with great compassion. So then there's some certain exceptions. That great compassion means you think you're compassionate persons. It's not like that. Great compassion means you have to have, the great compassion has to, generate through, complete the practice of the 12 names of divine originations, understanding the cause and condition of the second existence, and understands the path that lead to the liberations. And then says, what if I done something negatives? Yes, the result may not be rapid within this life or the tomorrow. And so, and day after tomorrow, life after next lives, it is still unknown. If you think that, although the performing the wrong and evil deeds does not at once, like sword, like a knife, it's not cut you at once, right? So the negative action is not like a knife, the moment you engage in negative actions, and next day or the next moment you will be facing the consequences. It's not like that. Create a gush, right? Sword, create a gush. When death arrives, create a gush when death arrives. The gush means so those evil acts will show. When death arrives, those evil acts will show. Their karmic fruit will clearly be revealed. So, right at once, so we planned for, after 20 years, 30 years, we plan for that, which means it's not coming right away, but it is certainty. There's certainty. So it will, if you don't plan your health or your any kind of things. Like tomato seeds bearing in the soil, and takes months, but still it comes. The sprouting comes. So similarly, any negative actions, and there is no consequence right away, but it will, gradually manifest. So for that reason, you should not be committing any wrong, unwholesome deeds, wrong actions. Now, number 31 is saying that should not be engaging in negative actions. These are all because of the disturbing mind. And so now the question is, how should we, maintain our mind? How should we take care of ourselves, not to engage in the negative actions in the future? Then number 32 say, faith and ethics, learnings, boundiness, flawless sense of shame and decency, and seven are this wisdom are this even 7 riches the Buddha taught. The faith, ethic, learning, boundiness, sense of shame and decencies, and wisdom are the 7 that dignifies individual. So this is what Buddha has taught, and no other common rich have no worth. So these are these 7 are the that individual enriches or dignifies. So that is the preparations to restraining oneself to engaging in negative actions. Because if you are well taught yourself with faith and ethic and learning and the practice of generosities and your sense of shame of yourself engaging in negative actions, decencies, of not engage in negative actions in front of others. And then in the wisdom, they analyze what is the right and the wrong. So these 7 are the wealth that enriches you or dignifies you. And other common rich have no worth. So the money and the wealth and the possessions is not going to dignify you, or is not going to protect you from negative actions.
Teacher, the wisdom here is nothing to do with emptiness.
No. Wisdom is, emptiness is also included in that. So depending on the individual, the practitioners who have the wisdom that understands the impermanence or the law and cause effect, or wisdom that understands the next life and previous life, a wisdom that understands the the positive consequences from the positive actions, negative consequences of negative actions, and the wisdom also, if there is, individual has, heard enough of the Buddha's teachings, they may have a wisdom understand emptiness. So the wisdom is general. This is just general wisdom. So this faith, learning, boundiness. So learning is, in Tibetan we say, tsutim theodos, the hearing, the intellectual understanding. And the boundiness means not to attached. So this 7 dignifies or enriches the individual or person, right? So this, if you are well trained in this 7, quality, with 7 quality, then you are protected from engaging in negative actions. Or you can be protected from 8 mundane concerns. So yeah, this is number 32. And then even individual, the persons have faith and ethic, and sometimes they, you know, temporarily or for a short time, they may go, distracted. Like so, this also you have to be careful not to let you distract. Standards number 33 is gambling, public, how's that? Spectacles and show, and how's that? Indolence. Indolence, yeah. And bad company, strong drink, and nightly prowls. These six will lead to low runs and damage your good name, your dignity, destroy dignity, reputations. So give them up. So you should also, give up, gamblings, public spectacles. And then this is the laziness, indolence is the laziness. The virtual is bad company, bad friend, and the drinking, right? Tolerance. And the nightly prowls, probably, right?
Public spectacles and shows.
I think this is the kind of, at that time, the public spectacles means, when the many people crowdly gather and they, enjoying entertainment, like elephant or the fightings or any, dancings. So this is, you should not be, engaged in those public spectacles. So which includes not to watch movie. So I think this is kind of be careful and preventions. So when you gamble, you have got addicted in gambling, and this is the problem. And you're addicted in the public spectacles and shows, and if you are lazy about any like studying, meditations, reading, contemplations, so maybe I'll do it next Monday, next Tuesday. So keep postponing, procrastinating is also the condition that can how's that? Yeah, that can I think what called weakening your mind in the positive way, right? Weakening your mind in a positive way. Or you're addicted with bad company is also the condition that weakening yourself in the positive doing things, and a strong drink. So these are just the condition, Just watching something is not necessary to be right away. You got, you know, lose your interest in Buddhist teaching. But if you're addicted in that, if you do that one time, you may do 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Now, not to get addicted with this, gambling and spectacles, and then keep postponing. So any kind of positive things or doing, recitations. So give them up from the beginning. Don't just, engage in these distracted, actions. Yeah, so that's the the possible or losing your interest, interest in the strength and the faith and the learning and the boundlessness. These are the six conditions that can distract the mind. And then so now we talk about the, by kind of, by constant practicing in the faith, in the ethic, in the learning, and the practice with generosities, and sense of shame, and the decencies and wisdoms. So, what is the foundation that can really, how to say, build the good qualities? And then says, by doing that, there must be some kind of satisfactions. You have to have satisfactions. So, satisfactions or the satisfaction from the faith or learning, practice with generosities, satisfaction from the good qualities, and then and also satisfaction from the wealth. And then what is the best wealth that can satisfy you, that can fulfill your desire? You feel no craving for greed or anything, that can stop. And then says, of all great wealth, contentment is the supreme. So the best of the wealth that fulfill your desires or satisfy yourself or prevent, the greed and craving is the contentment. Said the who taught, the guide who taught and guided the God in human. So it's said by Buddha. So Buddha says the contentment is the best, wealth. So always be contained. If you know this, yet have no wealth, true rich you will have found. So you can find the material wealth if you are content. Oh, this is almost like chasing the scary dogs. And the scary dogs, if you chase them, you cannot find. So you will sit there and peacefully and show the harmony, and the dog will come to you. So so I think the reason why you chase after because you are not happy, you are not satisfied. So if you are satisfied and you don't need to chase them, and this will come. So the satisfactions from the wealth, satisfaction from the faith, satisfaction from the learning and practice of generosities and the wisdoms. So that keeps you, grounded, keeps you grounded. And because once you are grounded, and you may not, find the interest or excitement in gambling, spectacles, and all the six mundane concerns. So you have to be, ground yourself, like the pillar grounded in the soil, or in the earth or land. So then, Then the now the sentence number 35 is talking about the negative consequences, or what can, you know, what is the harm from the not contentment, uncontentment or non-contentment. And then Nagarjuna says to his friend, the kind sir, the kind sir, to own a lot brings so much misery. The kind sir, own a lot brings so much misery. So, things that you're going after, and you may gain some, but still you want more. And those many of the things that you have gained may bring more miseries. So there is no such grief for those with few desire. So with someone who has contentment, has a less grief. One who have more, and that more, I think that become the condition to go after more. And the more you get, more you go after. So there is the grief from that, grief or dissatisfactions. So contentment is some kind of wealth that can, satisfies you, and you'll be grounded. The more, and now he is saying the metaphor, example here, the more the Naga lords possess of heads, the more their headache, the more they have of cares. This word translation, more they have cares, is not found here, but it's saying that Nagas, some of the snake Nagas, looks very scary, it looks very powerful, when they shows many heads, but each of the heads, when they headache, so the more head, more headaches. So having more is not necessary to be satisfied or happy. And with contentment and having small can be satisfied fulfill the desires. So now they're saying that the kind sirs who will not bring so much miseries. And then how he was talking about his friend. So he's, telling his friend what kind of wife you need. How do you really check on the, so you're going to, the woman you're going to marry. Ranshin dade shematabatas, dade. So I think here in translate the murderers, I don't know, the murderers who side the enemies. I think the murderers is from the Tibetan word shema. So shema and murderers is two different things. Shema is something that can harmful to your life is the shema. It's not necessary to be a murderers. So he was trying to translate from the shema as the murderers, but it's harmful for your life. Who take side, who side with enemies. So a queen who holds her husband in contempt, who belittle their husbands, so that kind of woman, or a thieving wife who steals smallest things. So it's these three kind of wife you must avoid. So if Nagarjuna's telling the advice, giving the advice to Queen, he may say like same thing, right? So because it's your lifetime, you have to spend your whole life with that, once you're married. So which means you have to be careful to choosing the women. And then this is the negative side of that. And what kind of woman that you can marry is a wife who, like a sister, follows you, affectionate, right? Like a true long friend, supportive like mother, obedient like a maid. She must be honored like a family god. So if there is some kind of woman like that, then you should treat her like family god. And then says, so maybe this is also part of the contentment. Number 38, take food as a medicines.
I don't want to talk about 37 for a minute.
Why not 47?
Because we just talked about 37. Maybe I want to talk about 47 too.
No. 47 is not allowed yet.
Okay. We won't skip.
Okay, 37, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that I think this is not, I don't know about Buddha's time or Nagarjuna's time, but I think in modern time, this part, obedient like a maid, would be very similar to what kind of some Christian, male chauvinist is someone who thinks wife should just obey. They should stay in the home, work in the kitchen, raise the kids. I have to say, I think this part is a bit obsolete and doesn't really speak to these times. People have their own minds, and from a kind of a modern perspective, a valuable wife may be someone who challenges you at times, says, no, this is the wrong thing to do, or this is a better way to do it. So, the part about the mother looks after you like a mother. It could be like a strict mother, a firm mother, is much more relevant than this kind of obedient like a maid. I think almost everyone these days, and at least in our society, would have a lot of trouble with this.
Yeah. So this society's only focus on single point in one line. You don't see the last line. She must be honored like a family god.
Oh no, yeah, even that part is problematic,
is it your
by the
like
way.
That? Is it your society like
yeah.
that? Only
There is this kind of thing. Okay, I comment on that too. There is a kind of thing, particularly with a beautiful woman. You put her on a pedestal But this kind of approach actually ends up with a lot of emotional conflict, because eventually you worship someone not like a human being, like a god. They're going to fall off their pedestal for sure. And once they fall off, goodbye. So no, I think this is not something, even for me, easy to accept. I think it's very counterproductive.
Yeah. I think you need probiotic. You could not digest any of those.
I can digest, but I don't have to agree with everything. No, I don't think that's correct. I don't think these things should just be looked at as if they're permanently true. Talking about intrinsic, looking at this as a permanently true. That's the kind of a belief in intrinsic. And I think it will not hold up. That doesn't mean I dismiss most of this, but I don't think because Nagarjuna says it, I have to accept even Buddha said, you should test. And to just swallow this all, you can forget about testing anything.
Anyway, so they're depending on individuals who read this. So when I read this, the wife, like sister, follow you, always, think about you, affection like true, a loving friend, and supportive like mother. So when you read the supportive like mother, how can you treat your wife as mother? So I don't argue this because I understand the meaning of that. So an obedient like a maid, so sometimes the mother's so kind, very kind, too kind, that she listens. Whoever says something, children or husband or the friends or neighbors, it always goes and listen their kind of successful stories or listen their failures. She listens. This is the saying like maid. She was so kind. So and when this hold together qualities in one woman, and you should be treat her like family's God. So that kind of thing. Is we're not jumping on one line, yes, something. When I see, when you kind of, car or the house, you see the designs, you just don't just look the color. You see, this color matches this kind of design. This kind of roof is, matches with this house. Some roofs are many different designs. So we have to think about the size of the house and environment, and then this may be matched. So this time, it's not saying that you should treat your wife like a maid. This is like talking about. It's not talking about the person treating him. This is talking about the woman who has this kind of quality. Kind, very kind, listens everybody's. So this is like obedient like a maid. When we say something, complain or you ask something for the father, sometimes it's, I don't want to listen to this. I'm busy. The mother, when you go to the mother, and she will listen. Even she's busy, she's cooking, she listens. That kind of is attitude of the like maid. So, yeah. So you need
Okay. Well, if you want to parse it like that, someone who listens, although I think it probably not so easy to find someone who listens listens could be also someone who's overindulgent.
I think the Larry is considering remarry.
I might have to, and then I'll look around, and no one will want to marry me. Absolutely no one. I better become a monk.
Yeah. So you should understand the meaning altogether. So these are not logical reasoning or theoretical. It's not a theory. It is kind of advice. So you advise, understood, gets in your mind with meaning. So listens, So the last line is the most important. You should be honored her like a family god, because she has this kind of whole qualities. So this is also part of that. How do you find your life grounded, satisfied, and practice the faith, learning, practice the generosities, the wisdoms. So if your life is grounded, not disturbed, not distracted, and you can do those, successfully, you can practice those Buddhist teachings. And then to be, this is the one part of it, as a layperson, one part of the conditions that, keep your life is more grounded, more firm, because you are lifelong friend. If your lifelong friend has some kind of problem, then you cannot be, you cannot find your life is, more solid and firm. So that's why I was talking about the Nagarjuna is giving advice to his friend King Dejesamo. And then now sometimes we do things, killing and lying. So we say, oh, we just do that for our own survival. So then he says, take the food as a medicine. So in the right amounts, without attachments, without hatefulness. Don't eat for vanity, for pride, or ego's sake. Eat only for your body sustains. So sometimes a little bit, little oil, you should not complain to the wife, or less salt, you should not complain. So the food is for sustaining the body. So now, knowledgeable ones, Rivedani, now he is calling for his friend. Oh, knowledgeable one. Recite all days recitations, or the mantras of the text or the sutras all day in the first and the last watch of your night. Then in between these two, sleep mindfully, so that your slumbers are not spent in vain. So the time, the durations of the night you are sleeping are not to get waste, or not turn into negative actions, negative, how's that? Negative. So just before you go to bed, and between that, you can recite or say the praises to the Buddha, and then sleep. So thinking positively. Yeah.
What does he say? Recite all day.
So maybe I think there's it's generally, whatever you're doing, recitations of the sutras, or you take special time or retreat, you're doing something positive things. You may be doing a whole day, just before go to bed, you think negative. It would destroy whole night, the whole durations of night. It would kind of disturb your mind. Nighttime, daytime, you may be, doing positive things, but at night, just before you think negative, and then all the mind becomes turned negative.
Constantly, you just keep thinking. Continuously, you have to.
Yeah. So especially when you go to bed in the daytime, daytime if negative comes, you can it is obvious to you, and there is something you can do it to to direct your mind to the positive things, or you can say, oh, this is all negative things, or should be changed this, change thinking. And the nighttime, once it's negative starts, there is no sense of applying the antidote or the remedy. Right? So it will whole night become negative. So I think this is one of the important things just before go to bed. Sometimes when you think, contemplate, and analyze, and then you sleep, and just when you wake up first morning, when you open your eye, you may recite some stanzas. So that means your whole night is, thinking positively. Sometimes you just wake up and you're reciting the Nagarjuna's stanzas. So that is the good. That is one of the great sign that you may have spent whole night in the positive thinking. Yeah, so this is kind of very good. Yeah, and also I'm reading back to the 37 saying, obedient like a maid. It's not. You should not. It did not really explicitly say that you should treat your like maid. Is obedient like maid, supportive like mothers. So if obedient like maid, then you should treat like maid, and supportive like mother, you should treat like your wife as a mother. Right? Yeah. So all knowledgeable ones recite all days. So all day means not 24 hours, or you will retreat. And then most of the days, most of the hour you spend, or morning to the evening, just before go to bed, you may be spending time recite recitations or the contemplations or analytical thinking or compassion, thinking about compassion. So now in the daytime, even there's some negative comes, you can right away apply the antidote. But in night, and it's a very hardly people can really apply the antidote in the night, negative thoughts. So, to prevent that negative thinking in night, just before go to bed, you have to think and positively. So, and what you need to think in the daytime. So then constantly, stanza number 40, constantly and perfectly reflects on love, compassion, joy, impartiality, and should you not attain the higher state, at least you will find the bliss in the Brahmin's world. So here Brahmin's world referring to the, the fortunate human beings or the God beings.
So human realm is also in the Brahma's world.
Yeah, human realms, particularly here is the Changbe, Changba means Brahmins as a human is like more conducive human rebirth. So you have access to studying, listening, thinking, you have the knowledge, intelligence, you have wealth to support, more conducive human rebirth and the God realms, God beings. So, should you not attain the higher statements, even you do not attain the liberation or nirvana in this life, for sure you will find the next life as a more conducive human rebirth and a God born in God realms. And then this is the kind of for practice reflecting on the compassions, love and compassions, and joy, gawa, and impartialities. So that the practice of the love and compassion is, kind of the mind, two kind of mind that is, intentionally focusing on, separate characteristic. So one that is seeking happiness to the sentient beings. One is, having desire, seeking the freedom from the suffering. Right. So seeking sentient being free from suffering and seeking sentient beings having happiness. So both focus on sentient beings with different characteristics. So that's the love and compassion. So the gawa is joy. So joy means, so there's some kind of, the joy here is, sometimes you wear, new clothes, shoes, food, things that you buy, and then you offer to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, and you dedicate that merit, offering to the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. It reaches to all sentient beings. You just imagine it, but imagine that all sentient beings have the merit from my offer to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. And you also continuously take joy in there by thinking that now each of the sentient beings, they have this merit, and that merit, they kind of gain the wisdom that understands the emptiness, and then continuously they sustain or kind of maintain that joy in thinking that now sentient beings gain wisdom realizing emptiness. For all sentient beings, now they freeing from all afflictive emotions, even the stain of the afflictive emotions. Now they all become the Buddha, So just continuously imagining this merit benefit to that, and that turn into something good, that turning into something and better and better and better and better, and eventually they become whole Buddha. And the whole space is filled with Buddhas. This kind of, it maintaining your joy and happiness, by, imagining sentient beings successfully, they are freeing from all the obstacles and afflictive emotions, the causes of sufferings, and they attain finally enlightenment. So that kind of joy. So when you are meditating in compassion or meditating in emptiness, again, think that this kind of meditation, this kind of experience, I wish that every sentient beings have the same, and sometimes you think, I wish every sentient being has the same understandings, knowledge, and then again says, I wish all sentient beings right now they have gained this wisdom, and now right now began to free from the sufferings. So it's that kind of placing your mind with the joyful. So the love and the compassion and the joy. So love, compassion, and joy, and impartialities. Tangyums. Impartialities referring to the equanimity, or it's balancing, balancing your mind, which means you have, by, thinking impermanence of the compassion or joy, that reduces the imbalance of the emotions like anger and attachment. So, which means not to attach to the sentient beings. Sentient beings, not attachment. The first, most obvious example, they attach to sentient beings, friends, the relatives. These are to be attached. So, and then the another attachment is in sentient beings with relation to the sentient beings, and expecting this may praise me, this is going to be blame to me. So that kind of detachment and attachment. So kind of overpowered or kind of reduce, the at least intensity of that. So that kind of practice is practice with impartiality or equanimity. So constant, this you practice constantly. So constant and perfect reflect on the love and compassion, joy, impartialities. If you continuously doing that, you may, if you may not attain you may not attain liberation of the nirvana, but at least this will be the powerful cosmic conditions to be born in the next life as more successful, conducive human rebirth and God realms.
Could you explain something to me? And I've never been very I'm not sure if I'm clear or just completely confused. Generally when we talk about God realms, we talk about, the bliss realm where the gods are just in a state of bliss and they exhaust their karma and then they immediately go to hell, the hell realm after they die. But then here in this case, we're talking about, it sounds like a pure realm. It sounds like they're not, like there's a distinction between a pure realm and a God realm. And when they use the term God realm here, to me it evokes this bliss state where you exhaust bliss and you go immediately to hell. If you say, oh, no, it's not this, it's a pure realm, then maybe there's a problem with the translation. So I'm confused by this.
I'm also confused what you have said.
Well, I'll repeat it then.
Yeah, please repeat it again.
We talk about the 6 realms. And of the 6 realms, one of the 6 realms is the God realm, and the demigod realm, and the human realm, and we know the rest. But the human realm is considered the most generally as it's taught, not always, but generally, it's talked about the most favored state to have the potential for enlightenment is to be born as a human. It's the most rare of all the 6 realms. And when we talk in this framework of the 6 realms, the God realm is described in the classical text as the gods are in this blissed out state. They have all the delicious food and whatnot, and they're just completely zoned out in the state of bliss. And at the very end of their life, when they see their karma is exhausted, and they see now that it's exhausted, they're going directly to the hell realm. So the God realm is not considered very ideal in the 6th realm kind of schema. But here we talk about the God realm in a completely different way. It's spoken of more as a pure realm, where if you can't get enlightened, at least you can go to the God realm. If you go to the God realm, you're going to hell after you exhaust your karma. But pure realm, the copper-colored mountain or whatever, is kind of outside of the 6th realm schema. It's where you can progress very rapidly, even maybe more rapidly in the human realm. You can be a student of Guru Rinpoche or Avalokiteshvara themselves. So there's some problem in the use of the God realm here. On the one hand, it refers to you're going to hell as soon as you exhaust that state of bliss. So it seems to me like a mistranslation. It shouldn't say maybe the God realm, but the pure realm. I know that my idea is probably not right. There's the realm of I forget the 23 gods, or the God realm has all these gradations. But what I'm saying is normally how we're taught to conceive of the God realm is not a place to develop. It's a place to be blissed out, and once karma is exhausted, you're going to hell. That's normally how it's discussed. And now they're talking about, oh, you won't make it to enlightenment, you'll go to the God realm. But I don't think they're talking about the God realm, you're going to go to hell afterwards. Are you following me now? Did I clarify what I'm
There are
trying
many
to say?
people who follow you, but I don't follow this.
You don't follow this?
Yeah.
I think it's
I
very
think
clear.
it's more like a complaint to your own English vocabularies. So you are saying that there's no enough English vocabulary to translate, this
No, there
different
is.
God realms.
No, there is enough English vocabulary. I think I don't know if it's a vocabulary issue.
Or you're
if-
complaining
or-
to the translators who have
Yeah.
not complete
I
translated.
think that's an area for confusion. It's an area for confusion that needs to be clarified.
So that's why I'm here.
That's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you and bringing up this issue.
That's why I'm trying to explain that. Even they try to say, trying to use the vocabulary, Brahmins world. So Brahmins world means, Sangbe Thekwa means. Usually we call Desiram Brahman Ram. So now here, particularly when you use the Brahman world, which means higher rebirth. Higher rebirth means as a human being, equal with human being, some are less fortunate. Sometimes some less fortunate, with with relation to the wealth and success. Some, sometimes we say the human beings less fortunate means no access to the Dharma to listen, no access to train their mind, no positive information. Even that person is very rich and billionaires. We see it right. So here the Brahman's world means the man, a human being who born has, wealth to, the wealth and success and access to the Buddha Dharma. And not only access, they understand, they have, fully gained the knowledge. So that kind of thing, the Brahman's world as a human being. Now the Brahman's world as a God realm, and the Brahman's world means the God who are more fortunate, who has access to listen many different realms of the Buddha, the God that can travel to everywhere the Buddha is giving teaching, they can listen. So not all the God beings are, fortunate, like, those God who has access to the, teachings and improve themselves. So that's it. Now, what do you use the word for that? Those we cannot say human being. There's a lot of human being. So they use the Brahman's world. The Brahman's world, who live in Brahman's world, the human being who live in Brahman's world, the God being who live in Brahman's world. Right. So I think this is the, so we use the terminology to kind of to distinguish, what kind of world you will be born. And we cannot just simply say, oh, you will be born a human being. And then it says, oh, human beings, what is the, someone who has negative things, they can also born a human being. So instead of to distinct the birth, as a Brahman's world, use that. So now the Nagarjuna is giving advice to his friend, the king Dejisambo, and he considers, he always say with respect, or knowledgeable one, so, or qualified one. So he means that the person who is giving advice is he is very successful and he is in Brahman's world. You know. So I think that's the Brahman's world means, even in a human being, have, fortunate enough, so there is no problem, no suffering from, poverty and, wealth or physical or many things. They are very, living in a conducive life and have the access to listen, understand, not listening. Listening, the dog can listen, So listen and understands. So understands and gain knowledge, and mind has so convinced with what Buddha has taught. So that I'm saying here, the Brahman's world. The person is in the Brahman's world. So Hai Theba, Sangbe Theba. So Sangbe Theba means like that. So yeah. So now the second you have mentioned that, so that the God beings who is, once the individual, whoever has born in a God being, there is no, there is no kind of, there is no God who is stealing, lying, They don't need to. Everything is there. There's no need to, there's no reason to lie and steal and kill. Right. So even that, those God being has born in that realm, they live for maybe, as a human beings, maybe 100 lives, 1,000 lives, 1,000 years they may have lived. But so there is always, because they are with mind, which is not free from delusion. So the mind sometimes gets jealous. Some mind sometimes, something. There's a saying that when the God beings, when they see the sign of their dying, and it takes, receiving the sign of death and being died is a week, that it takes week, it says. Week means, and the God week means it's more than 100 years to the human being. So it kind of, and then they get worried and negative, their discomfort, unpleasant dissatisfactions, and then there's negative emotions. You already have the seed of that. Now the seed is sprouting negative thinkings. Sometimes there's for example, there's one story that one of the great masters, meditator, who meditate for whole life, and he was able to, undermine or overpower the desire, the delusions. So he born in the God realms. Like there's a we call form realms. Then he see the sign of him dying, and he said, "I thought I'm liberated. I attained the liberations. Maybe there's no liberations." So he got kind of doubt, and then emotionally rejections of the idea of the liberations, and he get mad. So even in the form realm, so he got mad. So because of that anger, that triggers all the negative karma that he has committed in many, many lives before, and then perfectly join and give birth in the, in the hell realms. So these are possible because you don't have, right now you don't have any reason to be angry, any reason to be attachment. When the condition comes, and then you have the seed. And then there is immediate cause for the misconception. So there is outside, there's the conditions, outside condition. Then inside, to link that condition, you have misconceptions. Misconception that can, the awake that seed of the delusions, and then perfectly, and then there's negative karma. That kind of, so while they are living in the God realms, enjoying in there, they don't see, much cosmic condition, that has some kind of connect to your negative emotions. So they just, it's almost like you got drunk, and then you have no, no sense of friend and enemy. And during that time, you forgot everything, right? And then you start to, sober. And then you see, and then you picture the enemy, you picture the friend. Right? So the God is like that, kind of like they are in the, so it's almost like in your, you have, you booked the hotel, you paid, and you pay only for 1 day, 24 hours, or 48 hours. So after 48 hours, the hotel manager will come, knock your door, say, now leave, this is the time. You have, you have only 48 hours to stay in the hotel. So like that, so you have a certain karma to propel yourself in that good condition, good environment, joy and happy. And when this, payment has done, and then you have to come back. So I think this exactly, right after this, as 40, standards of 40 and 41. So now here saying that 4 samadhis, 4 kind of samadhis, which is in turn discard in the pursuit of the pleasures. So, and then said the pursuit of pleasure, joy, bliss, and pain will lead to the fortune equal to the gods in Brahma. So now the form realm has 4 kind of stages, 4 kind of level. And the first is the first form realm, first level of form realm, you born there because you have abandoned the desirums, the delusions. Abandoned desire, abandoned means not you have abandoned the desirums, delusions through the wisdom, and because, through the single-pointed meditations. You don't let your mind to distract into negative actions because of the power of the concentrations. So you may have, keep yourself for the long time from the delusions. Now, as a result, you're born at first level of the Brahma stages. So then second is overcoming attachment to the pleasure, and then second level. Right. And then the attachment, overcoming attachment to the first level, and then so we call diligence, the pleasures. Again, the form realm, there's a pleasure, happiness, peacefulness. So they kind of have attached to it. So overcoming that attachment, you go the second. The second is called not happiness, is gawa, the joy. Because the joy that is in the second level of the form realm is by overcoming attachment to the pleasure. So again, there is attachment to the joy. So overcoming that, and you will be in the fourth level of this Brahman's realm, which is called equanimity, tanyum, no sense of attachment, no sense of, how to say, so joy and no happiness. You are trying to detach from that.
First stage is abandoning the desire realms,
Delusion.
Through the single point meditation. Second one is overcoming the attachment
Pleasure.
to pleasure. Third one is?
Third one is overcoming attachment to joy. Gawa.
And then become impartial is the fourth.
Yeah, in the present form. So then form realms and the formless realms. Then go to formless realms. Yeah, this is what in the Vasubandhu text, there's a detailed kind of descriptions of the four realms of the form realm. So anyway, four samadhis. It's four samadhi means each of the samadhi, first samadhi of this form realm, first samadhi to be born in the form realm is, trying, applying, it's a kind of a remedy for the desire realms delusions. So the four samadhis, this is what it says. Discard with the pleasures, joy, and bliss, and pain. So then, what are the names of the each Ram here says, the first is Brahma, and then second is the light, and the third is the great virtue, and fourth is the great fruit. This is what it says. So I think, which means the meditation, even you have no knowledge of the emptiness, no knowledge of emptiness, you can still, overcome negative emotional through the power of concentrations. So the concentrations is almost like it's not giving a chance to the negative emotional to act. It is this concentration, single point of concentration is not abandoning, not eliminating, or not purifying the negative emotions. It's not giving a chance because you're too busy in the positively single-pointed meditations. Because you're too busy, the mind has no chances to think, any condition, any object that may, provokes negative emotions. But when you suppress them, eventually they have to come on the surface. So there's always conditions. There's always condition for to surface the negative emotions. So some, even in the God realm, just before they die, they have negative emotions. That's called, delusional concentrations. They have delusional concentrations. So if they're negative emotions, attachment may not necessarily to be throw them in hell realm. So maybe they will be born in human realm again, human being, or the animals or anything. So sometime, there's some history saying that some of the brahmins around the born as spirit what we call you got chisa, de. Yeah, we have this kind of vocabularies. So I'm not sure. A kind of spirit, powerful spirit, and harmful. So some of the, like in the human realm, in desire realm, there's some spirit have so much power, you know. So that's why some people worship those spirit. By worshiping, they reward them, and they stop worshiping, they will harm you. You know, so you are just joining their party. If you leave the party, they punish you. So that kind of powerful spirit, you know. Sometimes people, human beings, they by worshiping, they get rewarded. They thought this is the God or this is the Bhagavan, you know. So they just worship that. So only they can harm one who had worship, you know. So they cannot harm other people who don't believe in that. So there's no relation. So, you know, you have to have a relation to be harmful, to be beneficial. So if you no relations, there's no beneficial, no harmful. So anyway, now this is whole saying that the life that you live and live with people, you know, and has to be conducive for your practice, the Dharma, and you have to be more grounded with satisfying, with satisfactions, with you know, joy, and therefore you have to practice the love and the compassion, equanimity, and the understanding the emptiness. So the part of that, you know, this like Nagarjuna's, you know, advice to his friend, even how to choose your wife, you know. Yeah, so maybe I'll stop here at 41. So any questions? The questions are already asked. So whenever you read this, you have first read the words and understands, and then taste the meaning. You know. So then there is, you know, the benefit from that. The letter is not going to bless you. Sound is not going to bless you. You know, understanding the meaning, having taste of that meaning, and then that may have, how to say, the bless, you know, bless in the so in the sense that they change the mind, that you know, turn your mind negative into positive. You know. So that's called blessing. Chinlap. Letters, the books, papers, not going to bless you. Okay. Changjusem Jorim Boje, Maje Bama, Jesus, Jevanyamba, Mevanya, Kone Kondo Pevaju, Tonya Tower Boje, Maje Bama, Jesus, Jevanyamba, Mevanya,
혼내 혼자 펴고 파마 심전 담지 대다 된주지 내려 담지 다도 동 장주 선바 강나 수수 대다고 모노 조주 가래라 그거 위주로 판단돼 원만은 좀 제래서 띵띵자도 이셔서 세대바도 된주지
May the precious body mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May the bone of no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness, not yet born, arise and grow. May the bone of no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all father and mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Trinity Tenzin Gyatso, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much. Thank you.